My name is Daisy. I am 60 years old. The first thing you should know about me is that I did not leave my daughter because I wanted to. I left because I believed sacrifice was another word for love. For 10 years, I lived in a country that was not mine. I scrubbed floors that never seemed to get clean enough. I cooked meals I could not taste because they were not made with my spices. I folded laundry that smelled of perfumes too expensive for someone like me to wear. I missed birthdays, school plays, and the sound of my daughter's laughter echoing down our hallway. But every month I sent money home. Every month I told myself, this is for her. And every night before sleep claimed my tired bones, I would whisper, just a little longer, Daisy, just a little longer. I imagined the life my daughter, Clara, was building back home. A beautiful house, a safe neighborhood, a bright future. I imagined her studying at a good university, walking confidently through wide gates with books pressed against her chest. I held on to that image whenever homesickness threatened to swallow me whole. Then one evening, exactly 10 years after I first boarded a plane with trembling hands and borrowed courage, I stepped back onto my homeland's soil. I didn't tell Clara I was coming. I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted to see her face light up. I wanted to believe that every tear I swallowed in a foreign land had turned into something beautiful for her. Instead, what I saw broke something inside me that I am still trying to piece together. The house was bigger than I imagined. 3 stories, cream-colored walls, tall iron gates with gold detailing, a manicured lawn. For a moment pride swelled inside my chest. She did it, I thought, my girl did it. I clutched my small suitcase and pressed the gate bell. No answer. I pressed again. After a minute the gate creaked open slightly and a young woman stepped out. She was thin. Her hair was tied back tightly. She wore a faded uniform dress with an apron tied around her waist. Her hands were wet, as though she had been washing something. She looked tired. And then she looked up at me. My heart stopped. It was Clara. But not the Clara I had imagined. Her eyes widened. For a second I saw something flicker in them, shock, fear, maybe even panic. "Mom," she whispered. I dropped my suitcase. "Clara," my voice cracked, "what are you wearing?" She glanced behind her quickly, as if someone might be watching. "Why are you here?" she asked in a low voice. I stared at her apron, at the damp cloth in her hands. "This is your house," I said slowly. "Why are you dressed like?" Before I could finish, a sharp voice rang out from inside. "Clara, what's taking you so long? Who's at the gate?" A woman in her late 40s stepped into view, dressed elegantly, gold jewelry, perfect makeup, the type of confidence that comes from never having to scrub anyone else's floors. She looked at me as though I were an inconvenience. "And who are you?" she asked. I felt the world tilt. "I'm Daisy," I said, "Clara's mother." The woman's smile was thin, controlled. "Oh," she said casually, "you're the one who's been sending money." That was the moment I realized something was very, very wrong. Clara's eyes begged me to stay quiet. But I have never been good at silence. "I sent money to my daughter," I said, "for her education, for this house." The woman laughed softly. "Education," she repeated. "Oh dear, Clara didn't tell you." Clara shook her head slightly at me, her eyes filling with tears. "Tell me what?" I demanded. The woman folded her arms. She dropped out of university 5 years ago, couldn't keep up with the fees, so unfortunate. I felt my chest tighten. "That's impossible," I said. "I sent more than enough." The woman shrugged. "Money disappears when one is irresponsible." Clara flinched. That flinch told me everything. I turned to my daughter. "Clara," I said gently, "look at me." She hesitated, then she did. The bruises under her makeup were faint, but they were there. My heart shattered. "Mom," she whispered, "please not here." The elegant woman stepped closer. "Clara works for me now. She helps around the house. It's only fair. After all, this house belongs to my husband." I blinked. "Your husband," I repeated. "Yes," she said smoothly. "Mr. Adrian Collins, Clara's father." The air left my lungs. "Adrian." The man who had left us when Clara was 5. The man who said he couldn't handle responsibility. The man who never sent a single rupee for his daughter's upbringing. He came back into her life, the woman continued, offered her a place to stay, stability, of course things cost money. I looked at Clara. You told me the house was in your name, I said. She swallowed hard. I didn't want you to worry, she whispered. The truth came like a wave crashing over me. The money I had sent, every late-night shift, every aching muscle, every lonely holiday. It hadn't built my daughter's future. It had financed her father's mansion. And now she was cleaning it. That night I stayed in a cheap hotel 2 streets away. Clara wasn't allowed to leave. Employees don't set their own hours, Adrian's wife had said sweetly. I lay on the stiff mattress, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly above me. For 10 years I believed distance meant safety. I thought if I sacrificed enough, life would reward Clara. But sacrifice without presence is like planting seeds in someone else's garden. You water it. You tend it. And someone else harvests. The next morning I returned to the house. This time Adrian answered the door. He looked older, but arrogance ages slowly. Daisy, he said, almost amused. Long time. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled politely. We need to talk. He stepped aside, letting me in. The house was luxurious. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, imported furniture. Paid for with my exhaustion. Clara lives here, I asked calmly. Yes, he said. I took her in when she was struggling. Struggling, I repeated. With discipline, he corrected. My hands clenched. She is your daughter, I said. And she is ungrateful, he snapped. Do you know how much it costs to keep her here? Food, electricity, education. Education, I cut in sharply. You pulled her out. His eyes flickered. Who told you that? She did. A lie, but I needed to see him react. His jaw tightened. She wasn't fit for university, he said. She lacked focus. You mean she refused to sign over my money, I said quietly. Silence filled the room. And in that silence I saw guilt. Over the next few days, I did something I hadn't done in 10 years. I stayed. I watched. I asked questions. The servants talked, they always do. Clara wasn't just cleaning, she was being punished. For what? For asking about the money. For demanding to see the accounts. For threatening to leave. The house was not a gift. It was a cage. And I had unknowingly helped build it. On the 4th day, I managed to speak to Clara alone in the backyard. She was hanging laundry. I'm sorry, she said immediately. For what? I asked. For lying. I didn't want you to feel like your sacrifice was wasted. I cupped her face in my hands. Your life is not a return on investment, I said softly. You are my daughter. Tears spilled down her cheeks. He said if I leave with nothing, she whispered. He said the money was his because he managed it. Did you sign anything? I asked. She nodded slowly. When I turned 21, he said it was paperwork for the house. My stomach dropped. But Adrian underestimated something. He underestimated a mother who had survived 10 years alone in a foreign country. I may have been absent, but I was not powerless. I contacted a lawyer. I gathered bank statements. Every transfer. Every record. Every receipt. The money was sent directly to Clara's account until she turned 21. After that, it had been redirected. To Adrian. Signed under property management. Fraud. Manipulation. Coercion. It took weeks. Adrian tried to intimidate me. You have no proof, he sneered. I slid the documents across the table. I have 10 years of proof, I replied. His wife stopped smiling after that. The case went to court. Clara testified. Her voice trembled at first, but then it steadied. I trusted him, she said. He said he was helping me. The judge looked unimpressed with Adrian's excuses. In the end, the ruling was clear. The funds had been misused. The property, partially purchased with that money, legally belonged to Clara. Adrian was ordered to repay what he had siphoned. For the first time in years, Clara stood in that house not as a maid, but as its owner. Adrian and his wife moved out within a month. I helped Clara redecorate. We painted over walls that held bad memories. We replaced locks. We filled rooms with light instead of fear. One evening, as we sat on the balcony watching the sun dip below the horizon, Clara leaned her head on my shoulder. "Mom," she said softly, "I used to resent you." I nodded. "I know. I thought you chose money over me." The words hurt, but they were honest. "I thought sending money was enough," I said. "I thought sacrifice could replace presence." She squeezed my hand. "It can't," she said gently. "No," I agreed, "it can't. I am 60 years old now. I have learned something I wish I understood sooner. Love is not measured by how much you endure for someone. It is measured by how much you show up. Money can build houses, but it cannot build safety. It cannot build trust. It cannot protect a child from manipulation. Only presence can do that. If I could go back, would I still leave? Maybe. But I would visit more. Ask more questions. Listen more carefully to the pauses in her voice. Because sometimes the most dangerous things are not shouted. They are whispered between sentences. Today, Clara runs her own small business from that house. She hired staff, but she treats them with kindness. She says she learned exactly what not to become. And me. I moved back home for good. I no longer chase overtime in foreign lands. I chase mornings on the balcony with my daughter. We drink tea. We laugh. We talk. And sometimes, when the wind carries the scent of fresh paint and possibility, I close my eyes and forgive myself. Because motherhood is not about being perfect. It is about fighting, even when you arrive late.